Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Rabbi.
Good Tavach Shavua Tov. We're learning Mishnah Gittin, Perek Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishna Hey, Mishna 5. Call get. Any get. Now, in this context, the word get means a document. It does not mean a bill of divorce for a woman. Sometimes the word get just means a document. So in this context, it reads, call get, any document, sheyesh alav aid kusi pasal, that has on it a witness who's a kusi, who's a Kuthian. We'll explain soon what that means. Is pasal, it's invalid. Now, the Kuthians were a group that settled, of non-Jews who settled in Eretz Yisrael during the period of the first Beis HaMikdash, or the first temple. When they were attacked by lions, they converted to Judaism in the hope of being saved. However, even after their conversion, they kept some pagan beliefs and did not observe the mitzvahs properly. And therefore, there is a dispute amongst the Tanoim, amongst the sages of the Mishnah, as to their status as Jews. Number one, are they true converts or not? And then their liability regarding mitzvah observance. That's the issue with the Kusim. The issue with the Kusim is, number one, are they considered actual converts? And number two, even if they are, I can rely on them when it comes to the observance of certain mitzvahs. So our Mishnah reads that kol get, any get, sheyesh lav eid kusi pasal, that has on it a witness that is a kusi, it makes that document pasal invalid. Chutz v'gitay noshim v'shakruri avadim, except if we're talking about will divorce for a woman or a document of freedom for a slave. There we say that the kusi A, the witness who's a kusi, will not invalidate the document. The explanation to this is the following. Although as a rule, I'm reading here from the bottom of the notes, Kuthians do not properly observe the mitzvahs. As a rule, they don't observe properly. The Tana of our Mishnah holds that they are illegitimate Jews. That's number one. He holds Kusi Gere Emese. They're considered converts, and therefore their conversion originally was a good conversion, and therefore the Jews. But the problem is that although they had a proper conversion, they still did not necessarily observe all the mitzvahs properly. So therefore, if a particular Kuthian is known to keep the mitzvahs properly, he's a valid witness. Okay? The Mishna, therefore, in this case, what would come out we're saying is that the reason why the reason we're going to go ahead and allow this Kuthian to be a witness is because we know that he keeps mitzvahs properly. And since he keeps mitzvahs properly, he's a kosher witness, and he's a Jew. Now, a little bit of qualification here. The Mishnah refers to a case where the Kuthian signature appears above the Jew's signature. The Jew would not have given the Kuthian the honor of signing before him if he did not know that this Kuthian observed the mitzvahs properly. So the reason why we're saying here that the Kuthian is a kosher witness, based on the fact that we know he keeps mitzvahs, how do we know? And the answer is because since the other witness, who was a Jew, regular Jew, allowed him to sign first, that's an honor. He'd only give him the honor if he knew that he was an observant. He was a person who was observant. And therefore, now that we know that the Kuthian is observant, so again, number one, we know he's Jewish. Number two, we know he's observant. The halacha is you can use him as a witness. Okay, so then why do we say, though, you can only use him as a witness when it comes to a bill of divorce for a woman or document of freedom for a slave? Why can't we use him all the time? So they explain here, for documents other than Gittin, meaning other than the bill of divorce for the woman and the freedom for a man for the slave, the two witnesses do not have to sign in each other's presence. Therefore, even if a Jew's signature appears along with the Kuthian's, the Jew might not have known that Kuthian, and there is no evidence that he is a reliable witness. Meaning, the halacha is that when two witnesses sign a get, bill of divorce for a woman, or a document of freedom for a slave, they both have to sign together at the same time in front of each other. And therefore, we can say that if he allowed the Kuthian to sign before him, he must know that he's observant. But when you're dealing with other documents, you don't need them to sign together at the same time. And therefore, the fact that you have a Kuthian together with the Jew, not going to help you, because who says that the Jew knew who the Kuthian was? He didn't sign necessarily together with him. You don't have to. And therefore, that's why the Mishnah says that for other documents where the witnesses don't have to sign together, we have nothing letting us know that the Kuthian is an observant Jew. However, but in the case of a bill of divorce for a woman and freedom for a slave, where they do have to sign together. So again, we're talking about, as they say here, that the Kuthian is signing above, which means we give him the honor to sign first, and that only would have happened if the Jew would have known that he is someone who observes mitzvahs. Now the thing is, though, that what we have here, interestingly, is that, so it says, the Mishnah says, any get that has on it a aid kusi, that's one. When we say here that this Kuthian witness is kosher for a get for a woman or for a slave, that is talking about, according to the first minute of the Mishnah, when there is one witness, when there's one Kuthi witness. What if there's both of them are Kusim? Would that be kosher? The answer is no, because if both of them are going to be Kuthians, we have no way of knowing are they observant or not. Just because one Kusi lets the other Kusi goes first, that doesn't mean he's doing it because he's observant. Maybe the second one's not observant and he doesn't care, or whatever. Maybe maybe they're both not observant, so nobody cares. They don't care which one goes first.
You know he's a Kusi.
Because he's a Kusi. Now, maybe you see his name. I don't know. Now, the next part of the Mishnah is going to actually disagree. A story occurred where they brought a get of a woman, the bill of divorce for a woman, before Rabbi Gamliel in a place called Kfar Oisnai, the village of Osnai. And its witnesses, that means both witnesses were kusim. The hiksher, and nonetheless, he still allowed it. That means that Rabbi Gamliel is holding that not only is one kusi witness kosher, even two are. So the wording of the Mishnah is a little bit missing, because it starts off, any get that aid kusi is that has an aid kusi, or any get of a woman has an aid kusi is going to be kosher. And it's Rabbi Gamliel where the aidim were aidei kusim, which is a little bit different. That means both of them were, and therefore the Gemara tells us that Rabbi Gamliel argues. And he says both of them can be kusim for it to be kosher, and that's exactly what we see from this story. Now, why does Rabbi Gamliel hold that even if both kusim are on its kosher? So they explain here, Rabbi Gamliel holds that although the Kuthians do not properly observe all the mitzvahs, there are some mitzvahs that all Kuthians observe properly, and they be trusted regarding those mitzvahs. One such mitzvah is the laws of Gittin. Okay? However, they were not, so therefore, according to Rabbi Gamliel, for Gittin, for divorce for a woman, and for freeing the slave, they observed that properly. If they observed that properly, they can be trusted. However, they were not known to be careful with regard to other documents, and thus are not valid witnesses for other documents. Meaning, again, Rabbi Gamliel is not saying you can use it for any document. The story was only he allowed it for a bill of divorce for a woman. So that's because for a divorce, they were observant. They were careful with it. They did it properly. Other documents, they weren't observant about. They weren't careful about. And therefore, even Gamliel agrees that you can't use a kusi for other documents other than a bill of divorce for a woman or a document of freedom for the slave. But what he argues on is that he holds that even if both of them are kusim, it's going to be kosher by the get for the woman. And the Tanna Kama, the first opinion, only said that it's okay when there is aid kusi. That means only one witness. According to Tanna Kama, you can't necessarily assume that they were observant about the Gittin, and therefore you need some kind of indication from the other witness who was a regular Jew to say that he is observant, and then it's going to be kosher. But it's only if you have one witness. Gamliel said one kusi witness. Gamliel says both witnesses can be kusim for the get to be for the get of the woman and for the slave to be kosher. All right, we'll continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Good Tavach Shavuot Tov.
Thank you, Rabbi.